DeathX for free? That's what I call ultra value. Alright, Digi-Egg cards, starting off 4 copies of Dorugoramon. Of course, this is not an AVAULT deck. This is also not a Machinedramon deck either. It's DexDorugoramon Derugoramon as well. But generally, this is just a really good egg because we do play that core engine of putting a lot of stuff underneath our stack. We're building a big stack so that we can draw more cards off of it. Just always a really good, great, fantastic egg to have for the deck. Then moving into the rookies, 4 copies of DexDorugoramon, one of my personal favorites just because it gives you that security +1. Very easy to achieve the threshold with 13k or higher DP. And then the piercing is kind of nice, which does comes up every now and then. But mainly this is the rookie that we always want to Digivolve our egg on top of to stack that inheritable because it always gives that extra power and push so when we can close games faster as well. Now moving into the X antibody related stuff. 4 copies of Dorugoramon here. It is the main searcher of the deck. It also has that inheritable of gaining your memory, which is always really neat, especially when you do slide it underneath itself at the same time. You can always gain that memory. And yeah, one of the best X antibody rookies. And then rounding up, we have 4 copies of the other Dorugoramon from BT9. Simply on play, trash 1, draw 2. And then with this effect, it's really important because we do really need to trash very selective cards in our hand to sort of set it up and make sure we have a lot of DeathX and Dex related cards for later combos. So this one is definitely a 4 as well for sure. As we continue to the level 4s, it does really look more like an AVAULT base because that's what the whole Dorugoramon line is all about as they digivolve through the whole Digivolution. Then we have 4 copies of Dorugoramon right here. I like this one a little bit more just because you can always have that blocker just in case, but having that hard play cost of 6 is kind of hard. Therefore, you always want to be digivolving it for sure. Inheritable, always getting 1000 DP is always really good. Then 2 copies of the BT13 one here instead. Exact same. The only difference is it doesn't have that blocker effect, but otherwise it gives you extra 1000 DP as the inheritable, which you always want to stack up more. And the more you have, it makes your stack stronger and more powerful as well. And then to sum it all off for the level 4s, 4 copies of the DexDorugoramon here. Always really great just because you Digivolve for 0 on top of Dorugoramon, and then you get to gain the memory back. You gain blocker and retaliation as well. Very, very important for the Dex line too. Level 5s, 3 copies of the new Dorugoramon from BT13. New Dorugoramon just really helps sort of cycle and add more sources when you Digivolve, gives you DP reduction protection for 1 whole turn too, and it has that end of turn, letting you slide something with antibody from your hand underneath it, which is really fantastic because sometimes you'll be able to sort of like manipulate the memory gauge in combination with the Dorugoramon from BT7 as well. Or you can also try to add more stack, building a really big one to get even more other valuable inheritables too. I know many of you guys are trying to say bring this guy back to 4, but still a very powerful card. The BT7 Dorugoramon, giving you security +1 as its inheritable is always just really good. That's the whole reason why we play the DexDorugoramon as well. This one also gives you protection with DP reduction, but not only that, but also deletion prevention too. And this is also exactly why this card is still restricted down to 1, but hopefully maybe one day it'll come back to 4. If you guys are X antibody fans, did you know that we're also going to be getting a new whole support line for Dorugoramon, which is going to be really cool. It's going to be an entire deck itself, and I just can't wait. So if you guys want to see that deck profile when it comes out too soon, definitely subscribe, turn on that notification bell right now to stay tuned. If you want to see early deck lists, make sure to join the AVAULT Club. And to round up for the level 5s, 4 copies of DexDorugoramon, definitely to fulfill the Dex line names, which is really, really important. And yeah, it's just a really good one because you can Digivolve for 1 on top of Dorugoramon, but you can gain that memory back as well. Delete something that's level 4, which is always fantastic, and then just move on and continue to build your stack. Level 6s. One of my personal favorite Digimon out here, Dorugoramon. Really, really cool, fantastic card just because it's just 3 to Digivolve, helps you stack more stuff underneath it, can delete 2 things that are play costs equal to less than the number of it has in its stack, and it continues to ramp up its DP, getting stronger and stronger. It is one of your key main boss Digimon that you want to be seeing in this particular deck. It gets so powerful to DP that there's nothing that can actually stop it when it comes to security essentially, and it can just swing over a bunch of things too. Then of course we have its Dex counterpart, DexDorugoramon right here. This does cost 5 to Digivolve, but you mainly can actually Digivolve for 2 with its alternative text on top of Dorugoramon. And then when you do Digivolve, you get to delete all your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level, which is always great because you can potentially board wipe. Now its key main thing is a secondary effect, because on deletion, it lets you play a level 3 black or purple Digimon card from trash. But what we're really trying to go for is to have 5 or more cards in our trash with Dex, DeathX in their names, and then it lets us play a DeathX from trash for free. And you guys know exactly what happens when DeathX comes out, board wipe time. So really, really powerful and really good card to sort of bridge into that main combo. And then since we're talking about DeathX, of course, for our level 7 boss Digimon of the deck, we do have the 3 copies of DeathX right here. Usually you can hard play this card where your opponent establishes a wide board, and being able to reduce its play cost is really, really great. So then you can de-Digivolve everything, delete everything that's level 4 or less afterwards as well. But with this particular deck, it gives you an alternative avenue where now you can actually even Digivolve on top if you want to, or play it for free from trash like we saw earlier with DexDorugoramon right here. And always at the end of turn, your opponents will always have to delete their Digimon with the lowest play cost. And this is exactly why that this card is perfect to be in this deck. Tamers. 3 copies of Cool Boy, just really great for Digivolving, cycling, and as well as searching for its 2 costs. You guys can see how we climb through our X antibody stack all the time. Therefore, this guy is definitely a must-have. At least a 3 of. You guys can bump it up to 4 if you like instead as well. And then we have 1 memory tamer, which is Coda, just great for searching as well. And if we ever need that memory, which we don't always need to start our turn at 3, but it's always just nice to have just because we do play Dorugoramon at the end of the day. So it's just a little bit of an extra synergy there. Moving into options, very important. Definitely at least 3 copies of Dex Digivolution. Now for 0 cost, what this does is that if you have a Digimon with its antibody and its traits, you get to use this option card without meeting its color requirements, which suits very nicely with this deck because you have black Digimon cards usually, and then you have your secondary Dex cards that are purple. This lets you Digivolve one of your Digimon from trash, which has Dex or DefX in its name, for paying the memory cost. And when you do so, you're going to be able to synergize a lot of the effects where they actually be able to use their secondary effects with DexDorugoramon, DexDorugoramon, and DexDorugoramon as well to have their abilities come out without necessarily having to Digivolve on top of their regular level counterparts. And that's exactly why this card is great. And the neat thing is itself is also an X antibody trait inside the card, which has a lot of synergy. And this card also fulfills the condition as another name of DeathX related card for DexDorugoramon 2 when it comes to its on deletion combo. So very, very important. Other stuff that we play, Calling from Darkness, always just really great if you need to delete yourself. Your opponent's not deleting you. This is one way for you to delete your own DexDorugoramon, and then you can grab 2 cards back as well. Recycle a little bit, just always a fantastic purple card to have. And then for another one, as sort of like a removal option, we have Pandemonium Flame. It lets you delete one of your own Digimon to delete one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with level less than or equal to the opponent's Digimon. So being able to do that, you can delete big things alongside with DexDorugoramon as well. And Security just simply deletes one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon, which is always a nice surprise bomb too. And then last but not least, staples, 2 black memory boosts just for further searching. We mainly play a black basic deck anyways, and this is always really helpful. That's exactly why. All right, other cards that you guys can be playing. If you want to do more searching instead of like just drawing, Ryodamon is a great searcher, but we don't play Yuji in this particular deck. You could add Yuji as well if you want to synergize it a little bit, but we don't really necessarily need it. We want to focus more on drawing and trashing specific pieces, so we don't really need all that much searching in this particular deck since we draw so much anyways. And then we have Deathclaw right here as an alternative one instead of Pandemonium Flame, just great for deleting level 4 lower stuff and just for 1 cost as well. Always fantastic. And then there's also Metal Impulse, which is DexDorugoramon's signature move, which de-Digivolves and also pops a Digimon that's level 4 or lower afterwards. It is a double color option card, which I don't prefer as much, and it also costs 6 memory. Therefore, I think this is not as great just because of how expensive and how hard it is to pull it off, but definitely a good suggestion if you ever are fans of the Digimon too. Other than that, Revival from Darkness is also pretty neat because you can delete your own, again, DexDorugoramon, play something that's level 5 or lower back, and then you can kind of rebuild a stack very quickly via that way, which is always kind of cool. But yeah, that's another option there. And then there's also X Program, another huge cost card where you can actually use it without meeting the color requirements as long as you have Dex or DefX Digimon in play. What this card particularly does is that it wipes out any Digimon without X antibody in its traits, and if there's 3 or more, you delete everything else as well. And it's just really good against decks that don't have X antibody, and yeah, a really powerful removal tool for sure. And then last but not least, X antibody itself with the option is also nice. It helps you, tuck something under so that you can do some cheeky combos with attacking, and you can Digivolve at the same time. Always really nice to have, and it's a pretty good one-off tech if you ever want to add it into the deck too. Alright, combos. The game plan of this deck is very, very straightforward. You're just trying to build a big stack and let the big stack do all the work. So you definitely want to see your level 3s and to your level 4s and your opening hand so that you can Digivolve all the way across, all the way to your level 6 and then your 7s and so on potentially. You do want to see your Dex cards and of course the searching cards as well alongside with Dex Digivolution. These are the cards that you sort of find out throughout the early stages of the game and as you continue to cycle and so on. So of course you would hatch your Digi-Egg card and what you have sort of prioritize in building your stack. If you can, ideally, I would really like to Digivolve the Dorugoramon because it doesn't have as much value compared to Dorugoramon, which give you on-play effects where this one, you want to trash a card from your hand to draw 2, and this one to search. Very important with the BT9 Dorugoramon. The cards you want to be trashing are actually any of the Dex-related cards. Ideally, it's going to be your DexDorugoramon and moving to your DexDorugoramon and your DeathXmon, and you actually want to set them up in trash. And that is exactly the reason why you want to use Dex Digivolution so you can Digivolve them back in the trash whenever you need to, but also helping you fulfill the conditions of DexDorugoramon's effect. So always keep that in mind while you're playing this deck because it's very, very, very important. So eventually you would Digivolve into either of your Dorugoramon here in the back, whichever is fine. And you would, of course, very similar to AVAULT, you want to establish your Cool Boy. If you have Coda, then that's great. And then your Black Memory Boost and sort of go from there. As soon as you see opportunities to sort of gain a lot of memory and value and go for a big combo play, you'll push up Dorugoramon here and you can Digivolve into DexDorugoramon and trash cards from your hand to gain memory. Use Cool Boy to gain even more memory if you ever need to, and then Digivolve into your Dorugray. Continue putting more stuff into your sources, whether it's a Dorugoramon, anything that's X antibody you can find. Really neat thing is you can even put Dex Digivolution underneath it if you ever reveal it with no other targets. Totally up to you, but you do want to keep Dex Digivolution in your hand in most cases, because just in case if you ever have to awkwardly say skip the Digivolution of Dorugray, then at least you can go Dex Digivolution to go into a Dex Dorugray directly like this instead and continue your combos, because you can still able to trash one card from your hand to gain a memory no matter what, but at least you can still pop a level 4 if you ever need to. And the same applies if you go from a DexDorugoramon or any kind of level 4 or level 5 straight into DexDorugoramon, skipping the Dorugoramon. That's when you want to save your Dex Digivolution, because it helps you give you that kind of removal to delete further things on your opponent's board to give you the most maximum value. But otherwise, like I mentioned, ideally this is how you want to build your stack. Eventually you're going to go to Dorugoramon right here, and this big stack is going to do you a lot of things because you're going to just continue to attack with it aggressively. Add more stuff while you're doing so. You can add anything, and when you do, draw 1. If you add a Dorugoramon, you get to gain a memory as well at the same time. Pop things with play cost less than or equal to the amount of sources it has. Do multiple checks, have a ton of DP, and you basically just run over your opponent's security, which is always great. And at the same time, at the end of your turn, you can always slide more things underneath to build a humongous stack. And at the same time, when you're building your stack, you want to make sure there are Dex stuff in case if you ever do go into a Dex Dorugoramon as well, you Digivolve here and you just continue to attack as much as you can, because eventually you do want to set up a Death in the trash, because if it ever gets deleted or threatened, that's totally fine. As long as you have 5 Dexes the moment in trash, when it's deleted, you can play a Death out for free just like that. So it's a very, very simple linear strategy, very, very simple combo that you can just repeat over and over again. And of course, at the same time, once you build that kind of stack, you want to continue to build a same stack and cycle through and do exactly the same thing. And to control, delete things at the same time, make it difficult for your opponent to sort of counter against you, and just keep swinging and attacking with lots of security checks, and then you just win the game that way. So it's very, very straightforward. And this is exactly the time when we will initiate the X program to cleanse the digital world, where we get to see this deck versus Royal Knights to see who will come up on top. So if you haven't done so yet, be sure to watch it right here, right now. As always, thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. We'll see you in that video. And this is AVAULT signing out.